Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Brystal Ahlman. Brystal comes to us from Lincoln, Nebraska. So welcome, Crystal. I called you Crystal. It's Brystal. I got Crystal on my mind because I'm going to interview her later. It's Brystal, so sorry. And she comes to us from Lincoln, Nebraska. So welcome to the show, Brystal. And will you please share a little bit about yourself?
I am a 14-year-old girl from Lincoln, Nebraska. I have two cats, Kit Kat and Oreo. I have one brother. I started racing when I was 8 years old. And I go to Lincoln Lutheran. I play soccer and basketball.
Okay, very good. So you're a multi-talented athlete. You do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're 14 years old now, and you started when you were 8. So you've been driving a race car for about 6 years. So who got you started when you were 8 years old?
My dad. We went out to our track that's like 15 minutes away, watched Cage Kart, like kids Cage Kart racing, and I just loved it. We've been going out to the racetrack ever since. My dad raced figure eight racing for about 14 years and then got out of it, and then we just started back into racing.
Okay. So you and your dad are both racing?
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you race then at the same track?
So I race at Mini E, which is inside Eagle Raceway, on Friday nights, and then my dad races on Saturday nights there, or he'll race at US 30 in Columbus, Nebraska.
Okay. All right. And so it must not be far from your house if you can go 2 days in a row, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only 15 minutes away.
Oh, you're so lucky. You know, I talk to a lot of people that drive 2 and 3 hours just to go to a racetrack. Yeah, I don't know how they do that. I have a lot of racetracks within, 30 minutes, if you drew a circle 30 minutes from where I live in Kalamazoo, you know, we have Kalamazoo, Galesburg, just all kinds of tracks. So I'm spoiled. And when people tell me they drive 2 or 3 hours just to, to go to a race, I sometimes wonder if I'd be as big of a fan if I had to drive that far. I'd probably watch it on streaming or something.
Yeah, probably same with us. We probably wouldn't be this far into racing if we didn't have a track this close. And
Yeah.
just all the people we've met that have encouraged us to race, to get a car, and just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me about your car. What do you drive? You know, have you always done the same thing, or have you started with one kind of car and you've moved up? Tell me how that went.
So I started racing Cage Karts when I was 8, and I started in amateur, which was kind of rough because I started a little late. I wasn't able to run the rookie class, and then I only got 1 year in amateur, and then I had to move up to junior one against people that have been racing since they were like 5, that had way more experience.
Yeah.
And then this year, after racing 5 years in Cage Karts, I'm moving up to hobby stock, which is a bigger car.
Yeah. Yeah. So hobby stock, you know, when we have a what we call Little Kalamazoo Speedway, which is where the quarter midgets and everybody runs. where a lot of kids get started. And right next to it is Kalamazoo Speedway. So we call them the little track and the big track. So it's kind of the same where kids progress and move up to like a four-cylinder or something and start racing at the big track. So
Yeah.
that's what you're going to do this year. Well,
Hmm.
that's pretty exciting. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I'm nervous because it's a big jump. Just starting the engine, just sitting in staging by myself. Where cage karting was, my dad was always in staging with me. Started my engine, and the second I got off, he was there.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a big difference.
Well, it is, but you're growing up, so that this is the next step. You've got to kind of start doing a few things on your own and get yourself out there. And I'm sure the other thing is that you're going to be racing against a lot of people that are could be your dad or your grandpa even.
Yeah.
So you're going to be racing all ages of both men and women.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big step, but my granddaughters did it and they found that, just because they're older doesn't mean they're better. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you'll be fine for sure. So, what is the thing you love the most about being involved in motorsports?
I think I like the most is having a community within it, like being able to talk to other people about it and just they understand what you're going through
Yeah.
and just all like the hardships of it, of having to be there every week and just not getting down on yourself when you like spin out or just not as fast as others.
Yeah. It's a hard sport because we talk about this a lot on here. Um, you lose more than you win.
Mhm.
And it's one of the few sports that really going to the track, you always hope you're going to win or you think you're going to win, but
Mm.
the chances are really against us. Excuse me. Unlike soccer and basketball, where if you have a good team, you could win every game of the season. So
Yeah.
learning how to deal with the adversity and, like you said, spinning out, somebody wrecks you, the tire blows, whatever it is. It's a good life lesson, though, I think, isn't it?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Really, it
Yeah, for
is.
sure. Because life's not easy. There's always going to be things going on that we have to deal with. So look at it that way, Bristol. When something goes wrong, just say, "This is a life lesson," and you'll learn
Yeah.
from it for sure.
Just learning how to be stronger and just keep going even when stuff isn't going the way you want it to.
Exactly. So, do you help work on the car then, the hobby stock that's coming? Oh, we froze
You
up.
cut
There
out.
you go. Yeah, yeah, we froze up. So, do you help work on the car, the new car? Are you learning how to do things to it?
Yeah, I'm most of the time I'm out in the garage helping my dad like set up the pedals, work on body panels, rivet, all all the things. Like I had to wipe down the interior so we could paint it and just helping wash the cars.
Yeah. All that's good. That's good that you're learning how to do that. So, what number are you going to be, and what's your car going to look like?
My number is 29
Okay.
and my colors are red, black, and white.
Okay. And how did
And
you pick 29?
29 is the day I was born on.
Okay. All right.
And it corresponds with my dad's number, which is 2. And then my brother used to race, and then he just didn't enjoy it like I do, and he was number 9.
Okay. So that number has some meaning for you for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, what's been your biggest challenge in racing? And, has it been a certain thing driving either the cage carts or now this car, or has it been the men and how you're treated? What's been your biggest challenge?
Probably that I started late, that I didn't have as much experience as some other kids as they started so young, and
Uh-huh.
that their dads, like, were in the sport, like circle track, longer, and that they knew more setups and like if it's too tight you do this, too loose you do that, and just all like the little things that make such a big impact with cage kart racing.
Yeah. Yeah, but your dad knows more probably about the hobby stock, so he's going to be your crew chief. Who else helps you with your car?
I have multiple sponsors that will come out and watch, and then I have a couple that will come over and help work on the race car a little bit.
Okay, that's good. So then it's not just your dad trying to manage you, and then the next day he has to manage him. So when he
Yeah.
races the day after you race, do you go into the pits and you help him, or do you sit and watch?
Yeah, I every single race that he's raced, except I think two, I've been in the pits because there's people that will help, but I deem that I'm the one that likes to help the most,
Yeah,
and I always feel left out when I'm not there to help them out.
yeah. Well, that's good. So you help each other out for sure. So your season hasn't started yet. What are you looking forward to the most?
Probably seeing if how well or not I'll do in a hobby stock because we don't really know what to expect yet because I've never raced a big car.
Uh huh.
So it's gonna be a lot of little learning stuff of just what to do to shift and all this stuff.
Well, and it's a different track
Mhm.
and different competitors. So
Mhm.
I'm sure you've watched some of them race, so you kind of know, who does it and who's the good racer, who's the clean racer, who's the dirty racer.
For
we
sure.
we learn that stuff pretty quick, don't we? But
Yeah.
yeah. So what do you do on a bad night? Everybody has bad nights. Nothing goes perfect. So if you have a bad night, and what do you do? Do you go to the holler and you cry, you throw things? What do you do?
There has been like this year was probably the roughest year for us because just everyone could find the right setup. We couldn't, and couple times I got a little mad that I would get up to the pits and I would throw my gloves just on the ground. And then I would just go into the trailer and just sit for a little bit by myself and then
Yeah.
talk to my mom and dad about it and what I could do better.
Yeah. It gets frustrating, and at least you didn't throw your helmet at anybody. That would have been
Yeah.
that. I've seen that a few times. So, but yeah, it's hard. It's hard to deal with it night after or week after week. So, but you will. You'll do better this year. I'll bet for sure. So, what does race day look like? Are you superstitious? Do you wear the same socks or you eat the same foods? What's it look like on race day for you?
Race day is always we load the car probably the night before and then we always head out around 2 o'clock every week, and then we always get the cars always set up, and then we always just hang around because we always get out there way too early,
Yeah,
and just not really any superstitions. I feel like it's just always taking a break and like knowing that it's gonna all okay
yeah.
after that night's over.
It always amazes me when I used to go to the track really early because when my son was alive and he raced, I'd go to the pits a lot. But it always amazed me if the races didn't start till 7 o'clock, there were people there at noon.
Mhm.
And it's not going to take them that long to get everything ready to go for the race. But they get all set up, and then they hang out with their friends. And
Yeah.
I think that's part of why they do it. It isn't just the racing, it's about the friendships they've made, and they go and hang out. It's a social time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what you do. So, are there other girls that are going to be racing in the hobby stock division?
There's there's this other girl that her dad already raced the hobby stock, and I raced against her in karts for a couple years, and now she's also gonna move up to a hobby stock too.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll race against her at some different tracks, and then there's two other girls that already raced in the hobby stock division.
Okay. All right. So that kind of helps. They've kind of
Hmm.
broken the ice for you that there's girls out on the track with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. So are you like friends with those girls, or you don't really know them yet?
I talked to the one last year at nationals, and I sat in her car, and
Hmm.
her car was actually like set up perfect for me, the height and everything. And then I would say I'm friends with the other girl that's moving up to hobby stock
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah, that's good to have least have somebody out there that you feel like is in your corner, and you're in her corner too, for sure. Even though on the track you're competitive, but when you come off, you at least have somebody who looks like you and is more like you instead of all those old men out there, for sure.
Yeah, totally.
So, do you think you've learned anything from being in motorsports that maybe you wouldn't have learned had you not been in it?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't have known all this different stuff of how much more it takes than to just load your car up, go to the racetrack. It takes more. You have to go through it every week, wash it every time you get home, and just make sure all the bolts are tight and everything that needs to be going to the track is there,
Hmm.
and just learning all the little things that has to go with racing.
Yeah, I think that's true of so many people, especially people that have never raced or never gone into the pits to see what's really behind everything. They go, they pay their money, they sit in the stands, and they don't understand that you were there at 2 o'clock in the
Mhm.
afternoon, and that you've spent every night in the shop making sure everything's ready to go for the weekend. And I think a lot of people don't really think about that. I encourage them to find a favorite driver and ask them if they can be in the pits with them some weekend and do what they do so they can kind of see. I think they appreciate racing so much more if they do that.
Yeah, and you just understand what the driver's going through each night and how much work it does take just to go out and race a couple laps.
Yeah, absolutely. So, are you glad that your dad got you started in motorsports? Is it a good sport for a girl?
Absolutely. I think it teaches a lot that you can do more than just. I always deemed that racing, you would think it's always for guys because just girls are always supposed to be doing other stuff, but I don't think that should be true at all. I think girls should be able to go race and
Yeah.
just do certain stuff.
Yeah. That's we've really changed the philosophy of what boys do, what girls do,
Mhm.
because, you can still like to get dressed up and do your hair and makeup and all that when you're a girl, but you can also put on your race suit and your helmet and go out and get dirty and wrench on the car and be just as feminine and much of a girl as anybody else. And so I think that motorsports has really changed that as far as girls go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do you race on dirt or asphalt?
Dirt.
Yeah, that's what I figured. You were racing dirt. So have you ever raced asphalt?
No, I have not.
Do you think you would ever want to try it?
I think it would be cool, but also really different. Like, just how concrete and asphalt act different compared to what dirt does. Like, how
Hmm.
dirt you can slide all around, and just how
Yeah.
different the track could be every night. Just how different the track owner would work it, and how much water he puts on it, and just
Yeah.
how dry it was that week, and just.
Yeah. When you go to Kalamazoo Speedway, which is asphalt, it doesn't change much from week to week. I mean, temperature, the air temperature would change things, but the track itself still has the same little bump here and the little crack there and whatever. Whereas the dirt track can be completely different every
Mhm.
week that you go. That's one of the hard parts of dirt racing is the track's never 100% the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, have you had anybody give you any advice that is kind of stuck with you, or do you have some advice maybe for some younger girls?
Yeah, there's been advice for just keep going and don't worry about all the other people that are there,
Hmm.
and just keep going
Yeah, don't let anybody tell you you can't do it.
and just keep setting goals for yourself, and don't give up on something when you can't do it the first night, and just keep going cuz it's going to come if you keep working hard at it.
Yeah, you're right, it takes all that seat time to get you to where you want to be. So I'm sure you probably have autograph night. Do you have little girls or little boys that come up to you and want to talk to the girl that races?
There is sometimes, like, we have hero cards we'll give out. with like our cars on it and all of our sponsors logos, and we'll have some little kids come up and we'll give them a hero card. We'll let them take a picture by the car, sit in it, hold the steering wheel, and
Mhm.
just get to see some a little bit from the driver's perspective.
Yeah, and you never know, that might be all it takes for some little kid to get interested and convince their parents that they want to drive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fun. So, do you have a good memory, either good or bad, a race memory from either a race that you had or even something else that happened at the track?
Yes. So I was racing junior 2 years ago, and the car was set up pretty good. And then I went out for my heat race. I won it, and the points leader was right behind me the whole race. And then I went out to the feature. I started first, and that same points leader was right behind me. And I was racing, then two cars got around me, then they spun each other out, and then I ended up winning that race, my first ever feature win, and I was so excited and shocked and couldn't believe that I
Uh,
won.
that sounds amazing. There's nothing like that feeling, is there, when you finally win a race?
Yeah, there's nothing better that just seeing that you finally did something and you can prove all those people wrong that thought you would never win.
Yeah. And it gives you confidence for the next time.
Yeah,
I've won a race, I can do it again. And so when you go out there, you just have that little extra bit of confidence
and
for
just
sure.
showing yourself that, see, I can do this, and it's not just for those other people. I can do it too.
Yeah, exactly. So are you on social media, Bristol?
Yeah, we have a Facebook page. It's Brystal Ahlman Racing number 29, where we post about our race car and blast out all of our sponsors and just post about what's going on on the track and just everything that's going on with racing.
And then you'll probably post like once, well, you probably know your schedule, but you'll probably post your schedule of where you're going to be and that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, we will.
Yeah. So will you race just at this one track or will you maybe travel a little bit?
So I won't race much at Eagle Raceway because that's the track that my dad sponsors the Sport Mod division, and my dad will race there a couple times. And my track that I'll race at this year will be Beatrice Speedway in Beatrice, Nebraska, and I'll most likely run for points down there.
Okay. And how far away is that from your house?
45 minutes.
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not
that's
bad
not
at
bad.
all.
No. No, that's not bad at all. So that's good. You're going to race at a different track and go for points.
Hmm.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be my first time going for points.
Yeah.
So,
So, will there be do you know, do they have a pretty good car count for hobby stocks there?
yeah, it's not the best as like Eagle Raceways, but it's better than some other tracks. Just they'll probably get maybe 15 hobby stocks per night
Oh, that's
ish.
pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty good. Awesome. So, Bristol, what have we not talked about? What did I not ask you about that I should have to tell your story or something obvious that we've missed?
Um,
Anything you want to share?
that
What about Dad? Does he want to share something?
I mean,
Dad's in
just
the car.
yeah, just the biggest thing is she kind of grew up around it with me figure eight racing. She was always out in the shop, so it's kind of cool that I have a lot of videos of her as a little girl sitting in the
Uh-huh.
car and kind of being around it,
starting the
and
car up and
yeah,
everything, loading it with you.
yep, or being at the track. I've got a video of her hollering in the background or cheering for me to race. So she's just loved it. I mean, we pretty much live at the track all summer, and that we're out at Eagle every weekend. Like she said, I sponsor the Sport Mod, so we're out there. And then I got back into racing primarily for her, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not ready quite yet to give up my end. So that's why she's got a hobby stock, and we're really really excited. And we've been
Yeah.
blessed with really good sponsors, and she loves it. I could probably quit tomorrow and
Yeah.
go buy a boat again or something, and she's like, no way.
I
Yeah.
love boating, but racing is my number one thing.
Yeah.
Like, always my favorite thing. Anyone will ask me, what's your favorite sport? Racing. Always racing.
Yeah. Do your friends understand about racing?
Not really. Like, I had one friend come out to the racetrack and she had like absolutely no clue what was going on. I'm like, yeah, I got this in the heat, and she's like, what? What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
And just there is a couple people that go out to the racetrack a couple times and they think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Are there any other kids in your school that race?
There was this one kid that he used to race, but he doesn't do it anymore.
Okay. Yeah, that's the one thing I hear from girls, and well, I'm maybe boys too. I don't interview boys, but the girls say, yeah, my friends don't really get it, you know, and they'll call and say, hey, do you want to go to the movie? And yeah, I'm going to the racetrack,
Mm-hmm.
and they
I
don't
wouldn't.
understand what the draw is. Why do you want to go to the racetrack instead of go see the newest movie?
It's so much more fun at the racetrack. You never know what's gonna happen, and just
Yeah,
new adventures of it, and you'll learn so much more out there than you would just go watching a movie or going to
yeah.
the mall or whatever
Yeah,
else.
I agree. And, the thing that also is you've got another family there and friends
Mm-hmm.
at the racetrack, and you can watch the movie when it comes out on Netflix or whatever, but
Yeah.
that's how I feel. I'd rather be at the racetrack too. So, well,
Yeah.
thank you guys. I know you're headed to the shop that's going to wrap your dad's car, so that's exciting.
Yep, and then
And
mine will come up on Monday to come up and get wrapped.
okay. So that's exciting. So make sure you send me a picture of your car when you get it wrapped. I'd
Okay.
love to see it. And I hope you guys both have a great season. This is going to be fun. I can't wait to hear
Thank
how
you.
you do in the hobby stock. So make sure when you post that you tag Women's Motorsports Network, and that way it'll come up in my feed and I'll be able to keep track of you better.
Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All
You
right.
too.
Bye.
Bye.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.